Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So, as the mother of two very energetic boys, both boys who can be super reactive, and you know what? I can be super reactive as well too. Pardon the park assist beep 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 as I roll out of my son's school and get started with my day and speak to you today, sister. So I'm calling this episode Pause, Breathe, Sleep on It, because I have come to realize that being reactive in most situations does simply not work. Like, it just doesn't work. Let me rephrase that. It doesn't work well to be reactive, right? Now, those certain situations, if somebody's coming at you, they're going to hurt you. You can't go, let me just pause, let me breathe, let me kind of sleep on this one. No, like, you have to react, right? That sympathetic part of your nervous system, which is also like that fight or flight response, like, it needs to kick in. And it's an important part of how our bodies work. The challenge is there are most situations in life where we're not being chased by, bears anymore. And it is not necessary for us to be in that reactive state, but yet that's the society that we live in, at least here in North America. Super hyper reactive, right? We can fire off a comment in a second. We can like something. We can share it. We can like, I hate this comment. Fuck you. And not even really think about it. Especially those of us that are doing it like on our phone or something. Even with people to their faces sometimes. Like, it used to be kind of thing people would say like, oh, you would never say that to my face. No, some people still say it to your face. And you're like, man, you're so reactive. I remember driving to the pool. So we have a community center that's about maybe a 4-minute drive from our home. And I was going to the pool or I was bringing my boys for one of the swim lessons. And turning left into a street that was like where the community center was just, half a block down. And I might have got on the tail end of the yellow, right? Like, you're kind of like, you're going to turn left, you're in the intersection, like, oh, it's turning the yellow, like, I gotta go, right? Well, as I'm turning left, I can see it wasn't even the driver, passenger, yeah, front seat or back, but it was passenger, wasn't there? I remember thinking like, oh, that's really weird, it was the passenger that just lost their shit. Now, I'm turning left, right? So I'm just happened to see them out of the corner of my eye as I'm turning left, and then, like, there's no interaction because now I've gone past them, right, in my vehicle. But I'm like, I remember seeing that, being like, oh my God, they just fucking lost their mind. I remember another time, too, being in a stoplight and, like, either, like, hitting a song on my phone, like sitting at a stoplight, or a podcast or something. And there was a guy that was on his bike next to me because we're stopped at a red light, right? And so there was something with my phone. Like, I actually did a whole episode about this. I think I called it like Lessons from Angry Bike Guy or something. And I was on my phone for a little short period of time at a stoplight. He just fucking lost his mind. I was a bitch. I think I might have even been a whore. Fuck you, get off your phone. Like, he just lost it, right? So I take a look at these two situations, not to judge these people. I'm just saying this as an example. Like, we're so reactive, right? I'm teaching this to my children. Of, listen, before you just like freak out, and they're almost 8 years old and 5 now. To me, I think what a gift for me to teach my children of just taking a pause, just being chill. That power doesn't necessarily come from like, rah! And most of the time, actually, that's a false appearance of power. It's not power to lose your shit. Now, are there times where it might be necessary? Sure. Is there times where it's maybe even appropriate? Yes. But I'm going to just say to you right now, sister, it ain't most of the time. It's rare times that is required or appropriate. There's power in being calm. There's power in pausing before reacting. There's power in just taking a deep breath when you feel yourself triggered by something before you just like, bah, go to that reaction, right? So let's talk about how this applies to you. You know, I had a recent podcast episode, and I had a picture of a cemetery, which I didn't know was famous cemetery. I was just like, oh, this is a free image that came up. Kind of fits with what I'm, you know, with the words that are in the podcast episode, and it's this really cool image. I'm just going to use it. Well, you know, just really reactive in the image and how she felt I was being disrespectful to those that were, it was a picture of a cemetery, of the Arlington Cemetery, and those that are in the cemetery. And it was like, number one, I didn't even know that's what it is. Like, I'm Canadian, I'm aware of the Arlington Cemetery, but like, I didn't go there right away. I just didn't. I didn't know that's what it was. It was not as a disrespect. But, you know, and again, this is not to judge her, but just to give you an example of like, it was a very reactive comment for her to go, what's this about? Like, that's kind of bold for you to do that. And it was like, how about before we react to things and have stories, why don't we just take pause for a second, right? So it's interesting how we so quickly will go to the story that fits with us, right? Like, oh man, she's got to be disrespectful, put that kind of picture up there, right? Or, you know, maybe I can take a look at with her and go, you know what, maybe she has like family that are veterans, or that she's lost family that, you know, have gone to war at any time of the last, you know, century. And that's a sensitive thing for her. Of course. I understand that, you know, we definitely are patriotic in Canada, but you Americans, it's like everything's like bigger, right? So the patriotism thing is like big. And that's cool. That's awesome. But again, maybe that's coming from that point with her. But if I was to be really reactive back, which I have in the past, I remember seeing that comment. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to delete her and block her. I'm like, no, you know what? This opens up an opportunity for me to have a conversation of, hey, you know what? Wasn't my intention. I would really encourage you to listen to the podcast. And there was still like a comment back. And then it's just, I'll just kind of let it be. I don't need to react. I just kind of like took a breath, just kind of paused and went like, oh, that's okay. She can have her opinion. I'm totally okay with that. She's not going crazy about it. So, you know, it's all right. Not going to choose to react to that. Right? And to just trust at times too. Like trust. So a situation came up yesterday with my husband. I have an appointment we were supposed to be at, and he had to cancel it kind of last minute, and it was a really important one for us to be at, and I was upset. Now I didn't super react. And then I was just kind of gave some space. It worked really late last night, so we actually didn't see each other till early this morning. So he had a lot of things to do with his businesses. And, you know, I saw him this morning, and it was the same thing. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to talk about it. I'm not okay with this. I'm going to be calm about it. And then I thought again. And I said, you know what? So I paused, took a breath, wasn't reactive, even though he was kind of in that very reactive state, and just kind of like talked him through it and kind of got him down as we're texting throughout the day yesterday. And then got up in the morning, and I was like, does this really matter to me to create something about this? Right? And is there maybe still some space that's required so that he can really hear? He knows my thoughts on it. I don't need to like pound it into him. And is this really going to get me the result that I want if I get really reactive right now? Is it going to? How about maybe I kind of try to, you know, be in his shoes and see the pressure that he has within his business and the changes that are going on and the direction of where he wants to take things. And it's, you know, it's constantly changing, constantly evolving. That's not easy. So maybe I'm going to cut him some slack, which, by the way, I think we should all do this. We're going to use a different word for this. It's called compassion. And just go, it was important for him too, but it was kind of a push come to shove. He needed the couple hours, and, you know, that's it. And it was like, okay. And to not go into my stories about how, oh, well, I I didn't box that day because of we had that appointment together. Now I had this. I could have gone to that whole fucking ego place, sister. And I'm very proud of myself that I didn't get reactive. Because listen, if you're that reactive, like, that is my MO to a T. I still react with the kids most days. Today, not. Yet. You know, the reactive stuff is less, it's shorter, it's, you know, it's cleaned up, there's some warning that leads up to it, especially with my children. I'm just like, guys, there's no more, and then it's like, psh. Sometimes there needs to be that release. Sometimes that collision is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's, you know, the reactive thing. And how about this? If we're teaching our children not to be reactive, just take a pause. Now listen, doing this, by the way, doesn't mean that you're a doormat. It doesn't. It just understands that you can choose your emotion at any fucking time. You choose your emotion. You know what's true and what's right for you. If somebody has done something that's not okay with you, then you can talk about it or you can let it go. But you don't have to be the doormat about it. This isn't about being a martyr. This is about understanding and accepting that we can choose. And we can choose to put a little... I've talked about this in a podcast one time. I was doing a podcast or a training episode. I'm like, think of like you know, like the store, The Gap, right? So the box that you would get like clothing in, right? Or you give it as a gift or something. You know what that box looks like kind of like a navy blue color with white, and it just says, I think it just says Gap, not even The Gap, but just Gap. And like in a little like rectangle in the white letters of the words Gap. And think of every time that you want to react, you just have that visual of that Gap box, and you're just like, boop, let me just put that in front of me right now. Let me create a little gap. Let me just pause. Let me take a breath. And then maybe even let me sleep on it. Let me just have a little bit of time. This doesn't mean, by the way, that you ruminate it over and over and you run it and you spin it through your head and you get all stressed about it. No, it's just like, let me just create some space. Or let me just put that thing, let me open that Gap box. Let me put it inside there. And I'm just going to open that up tomorrow. I might even just put it in the back of my closet right now, and I'll get to that tomorrow. Thank you very much. I know we got our phones. We can respond to a text. Boom. We can send a message. Boom. We can, post something on social media. Boom. Right. And it's like just instant. But I'm going to bring back this whole, like, let's just create a little bit of space. Let's maybe not do stuff instantly and just create some space, pause, breathe, and sleep on it. So here's your more tip for today then. I just want you to write these words down. This phrase, which is the title of this podcast: pause, breathe, sleep on it. Put this on a Post-it note, put it as wallpaper on your phone, somewhere you're going to see it every day for the next 24 hours. And I just want you to see how this reminder can help to center you so that you don't have this emotional roller coaster day, which is so easy. And I have those days still. But it's amazing what happens when you move throughout your day intentionally. And if you understand that, you know what? If I just keep reacting all the time, I actually don't even get what I want. I'm just in this primal, like, rah, state, like I need to attack somebody. And I want you to think of, in the movies, I remember, like, who was it? Who's the actor? I can see him right now, and I want to say it's John Lithgow, but it's not John Lithgow. I can't remember, but he would often play a bad guy. But he'd be that bad guy that's just like, they're just really chill. They're just really chill. And then they bring down the hammer when they need to, right? Jeremy something. Jeremy Iron? No, that's not him. It's somebody else I'm thinking of. Anyways. But think of, like, they often, like, they're cool, man. Like, everything's, like, chill. They're not going, rah! That would be kind of like their lackeys, right? Their henchmen. The guys that end up getting killed off are the guys that lose their shit, right? And get super reactive. So have this, again, as a Post-it note, wallpaper on your phone, write on a piece of paper, put it in your bathroom mirror. Just something, I would actually even say maybe not bathroom mirror, but like in your car. As a reminder for you today, sister, of how you can choose to live the next 24 hours. Reactive or pause, breathe, and if necessary, sleep on it. So, sister, finishing up, one thing that I want to talk to you about, which is the Women Want to More newsletter. There's so many of you that still don't receive it. That's crazy. You're going to get all the updates of the book that's coming out sometime later this year in 2018. You are going to get some amazing video trainings that I created inside of a private Facebook group, and the More For Action Guide and training video, which is to really how to teach you how to start your day in a place of power. So I will talk to the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from you pausing before you react every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosburn.com/newsletter.